What's up guys, Readiness Rations here with you again. We're going to be taking a look at another US MRE meal ready to eat today. This video will actually be a collaboration video with a good friend of mine and fellow ration reviewer, Multi Magnum 62. Multi Magnum, or John, and I were talking, and it just so happened that we both had the same menu on hand, which is menu number 2, beef shredded in barbecue sauce, a menu that I've personally never had, and we decided that it might be a cool idea for each of us to do a review on this menu. That way we can give you guys an opinion of more than one person on this same menu. So of course, if you want to see Multi Magnum 62's opinion on menu number 2, beef shredded in barbecue sauce, that will be linked in the description of the video. Now let's jump right into the review itself. So this particular meal ready to eat was packaged by Ameriqual on the 109th day of 2019, making this an extremely fresh MRE. Beef shredded in barbecue sauce debuted in 2014, knocking chicken fajita out of that menu 2 position, and it's remained menu 2 ever since. It certainly sounds like a tasty menu. Let's cut it open and see. Today I'm going to be opening that with a rather large fighting knife. That is my K-bar. Multi Magnum is a blade fan himself, and I think he would appreciate opening the ration with such a cool knife. This K-bar is super sharp. Per usual, Ameriqual rations are double bagged. This internal bag has a very tight vacuum seal. In there, we have a hot beverage bag, a flameless ration heater, MRE spoon, 1 ounce package of barbecue sauce, and man, that is a long ingredients list, a 2.2 ounce package of tortillas plain, those are coming in at 220 calories, a beverage base powder orange, the king of cheese spreads, cheese spread with jalapenos. Unfortunately, this is the new 1 ounce portion. These used to be 1.5 ounces. An oatmeal cookie, trans fat free, coming in at 280 calories with 33 grams of carbs. Another oatmeal cookie, trans fat free. Now, I don't know if that was a mistake or not. I'm not sure if you're supposed to get 2 of these, but I'm certainly not complaining. Our accessory package, which I will look at in depth here in a moment. A retort pouch of black beans, seasoned, the retort pouch for our main entree, shredded beef and barbecue sauce, and our sleeve for the menu. There's our ingredients list for the 8 ounce main and for the 5 ounce black bean side. The main is coming in at 240 calories and the black beans are 160 calories. Since I've never had this menu before, you guys let me know down in the comments if it is supposed to have 2 oatmeal cookies. I suspect it's not. Now let's see what's in this accessory package. Looks like we have a peppermint gum, a pack of made in the USA Splenda, no calorie sweetener, a pack of Bill's Brew freeze-dried coffee. Previously, these were in Mill Cold Weathers or MCWs. You can't have an MRE without MRE toilet paper, our pack of Lighthouse, a creamer, non-dairy dry for coffee or tea, a latex-free moist towelette, and lastly, 4 grams of iodized salt. We will get this flameless ration heater going right away. I figure both the beef and the beans are probably best heated, so we sandwiched our flameless ration heater pad between those 2. Water to the fill line, paying close attention to add it directly to the heating pad, and then we'll stick that into our sleeve for a little bit of added insulation. Hopefully that kicks off here in a moment. While we're waiting on that, let's get everything else plated up. So far, our FRH is not looking too promising. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt though, and allow it ample time to do whatever it's going to do. It's a very warm day here in May, and usually I would forego a hot cup of coffee, but since I've never had this Bill's Brew with Splenda, I figured we'd go ahead and try it out. This Bill's Brew is a freeze-dried coffee, and you can see those large freeze-dried crystals. We'll dump our whole pack of creamer in there. And whether or not it's a good idea, I don't know, but we will also use this full little Splenda bag. And to that, I will add about 6 ounces of screaming hot water. Everything dissolved virtually instantly with almost no stirring, and it's smelling like a fairly decent cup. And we'll do our orange beverage powder as well. Super fresh and fragrant, tang-like beverage powder. I managed to spill just a little bit there, but no major loss. And to that, I will be adding roughly 12 ounces of cold water. That doesn't dissolve nearly as easily as the coffee did, but no doubt that has to do with the water being cold. Since I made a bit of a beverage base powder mess, I suppose this is as good a time as any to try out the moist towelette. Still super moist and just a little bit soapy. It's got some little bubbles on it. It's leaving a little bit of a soapy residue, but our tray is now nice and clean once again. Let's go in for a sip of our Bill's Brew. As far as artificial sweeteners go, Splenda is about the best there is in my opinion. This doesn't have that sharp harshness that you can get with a lot of artificial sweeteners. It's not too overly sweet either. That Bill's Brew has a really nice mild flavor. There's no bitterness whatsoever that I'm detecting in this. The creamer's done a nice job of lightening everything up. If this was served over ice, it would actually make for a really nice iced coffee in my opinion. As is, that's about as good as ration coffee gets these days, in US MREs at least. Bill's Brew is very similar to a Coffee Instant Type 3. That's causing me to break a sweat though. Man, it's hot. We got 2 cookies, but I'll only be looking at one of the 2 cookies today. I'll save the other one for a future occasion. A little bit of crumbles in our pouch here, but this cookie's looking in fantastic condition. It's a rather large size and smells awesome. No desiccant pack in there. And we'll open up our plain tortillas. There was a do not eat in there, which of course we are not going to eat. And it looks like we get 2 smaller sized tortillas, which seem to be in really nice condition. So I'm gonna tear off a quarter of one of our tortillas and give that a little taste by itself. Very plain flour tortilla flavor, but there's no oddness with that, no kind of chemical flavor. It doesn't taste any different from any flour tortilla that you would encounter in any grocery store in my opinion. But I think that's gonna be a pretty good vehicle for testing some of our cheese spread with jalapenos. So we'll squeeze a little bit of that out. Oh yeah, super fresh, bright yellowy orange cheese spread with little bits of green jalapenos distributed all throughout. Give that a little smush and go in for a taste. Dang, that's good. The jalapeno cheese spread is one of the most flavorful items that you will encounter in a US MRE. The salty, cheesy heat that it brings to the party is freaking fantastic. It is just a shame that they reduced the size down to just 1 ounce. Man, I love that stuff. A little bit spicy though, so let's wash that down with some orange beverage base. Artificial orange flavor, slight sweetness, slight tartness. A good deal better than plain old water, I would say, but definitely not one of my preferred beverage bases. We've given this heater a good 15 minutes at this point. That's a lot longer than one of these should take to work, and I'm feeling virtually 0 heat. I'm gonna give it one last chance to work by removing one of the retort pouches. Maybe it was smothered a little bit. These beans are slightly above room temperature. Cut that corner. Let's see what they're looking like. Never had this side item. And there we are, seasoned black beans. It looks almost like a chili. Lots of sauce that they're sort of suspended in. I've had old versions of beans and sauce and MREs, but never anything this new. There's really not that much to look at. We have our beans, which are all black beans as far as I can tell, and a lot of this sauce that appears to be sort of a tomato base. There's no bits of any other kind of vegetable matter that I can tell. No onion or anything else. Let's get a spoonful of that and give our black beans in seasoned sauce a taste. They're ever so slightly smoky. There's a little bit of chili powder in this. It's also just a little bit sweet. They're basically chili beans. In the bean family, black beans are traditionally my favorite. And as far as an MRE bean component goes, I think this is my favorite I've encountered thus far. The flavors are really hitting just right for my palate. And that chili powder that's in there is just slightly spicy. So it has a little bit of spice heat to it. And that's a good thing in my opinion. Looks like we're at 85. Even at that relatively low temperature for food, these black beans are still very edible. They're not overly starchy, still nice and soft. Really no problem eating them like that at all. Now we'll get a little bit of our beans, load that up on our tortilla, and mix a little chili heat with a little cheesy jalapeno heat, and have a little makeshift bean and cheese burrito. That is pure money. Awesome combo of flavors. Really nice heat level with the jalapeno. That's good stuff. And just coat off the coffee. And let's see how the FRH is doing. This is the non-heating pad side. We're just above room temp. On the side with the heater, I can feel the heat radiating now. And it looks like we finally kicked off up to about 160, 170, which is about as hot as an FRH gets. So now that that is working, we're going to let it do its thing. I guess we're going to try out dessert early this go around with our 1 of 2 trans fat-free oatmeal cookies. Very crumbly, getting cookie bits everywhere. Shame there was no dairy shake or anything in this menu to make a frosting out of. And there's a look at the inside. Airy, crumbly cookie center with little bits of visible oats. Super sugary sweet, delightful, spiced flavor. Has a slight hint of cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, crisp and crunchy. Has this sort of malty thing going on. These cookies are never a disappointment. It was so good, in fact, I only have one bite left. I think our main is finally warm enough to test. Looking at 110 on the outside of the bag. Oh yeah, that's feeling nicely warmed. Check that out. They weren't kidding when they said it was shredded. It's looking more like a mush than what I would consider shredded beef. I think it's just all gonna plop out. Yep, there it is. That is a beautiful sight. It all slid out nice and smooth. Hopefully things come out just as smooth tomorrow. Check our temp here one last time. Made it up to 130, and that's good enough for me. See what we're working with here. There's a lot of sauce. No vegetables as far as I can tell. We do have some decent sized chunks of beef. So it looks like a beef roast. See, it's shredding up there with real muscle fibers. So it doesn't appear to be processed. If it is, it's very lightly processed. And some of it is very stringy and shredded, where other pieces are a bit more substantial and meaty, and it's actually not looking too bad. I'm not a huge barbecue sauce fan, more of a hot sauce person. And this has a very pungent barbecue sauce smell, which is a little bit off-putting to me personally, but I think most people would find this aroma fairly pleasing. Let's go in for a spoon of that, get plenty of sauce and plenty of beef. One thing I can say for sure about this main is they are not skimping on the amount of meat that you're getting. It is a very substantial main with lots of beef, and I'm sure that is very much appreciated by the troops. Let's see how it tastes though. That bite seemed to be more sauce than meat in my opinion. The meat is very soft and tender, slightly stringy, and maybe just a little bit dry. The sauce is a little bit tangy. It's not as sweet as I thought it would be, and I actually like that. It's not spicy in any way either though. Sodium levels seems decent, so I don't think it needs any salt. If it was a little less saucy, I think this would make a really nice barbecue sandwich. We don't have bread, but we do have tortilla. So let's slap a little bit of our meat on our tortilla here and see how those two pair up very nicely. I like that a good bit. Put a little bit of cheese spread on there to give it some heat. And as always, jalapeno cheese spread makes everything better. And a little bit of added heat is really what this beef needed in my opinion. I'll make another one of those. Get some beef on the tortilla. This time, we're gonna go in for some beans and try that, hopefully without making a big mess. And there's so much sauce going on, it's probably all over my face. I like that. I think the texture of the beans pairs well with the texture of the meat. I think these flavors all mesh and meld very well. The slightly chili spiced beans with the barbecuey meat are a really solid combo. Let's see how the MRE barbecue sauce is though. It's very dark. Now that is the sweet barbecue sauce that I was thinking this was gonna taste like. The barbecue sauce that's in the beef is certainly different from the barbecue sauce that's in the pouch. And this is the kind of barbecue sauce that I'm really not a huge fan of. Try a little bit of that on the tortilla. It's just sweet, tomato base, very runny. Not my favorite. But when combined with the meat and the tortilla, it still all mixes in very well. I will give this menu big bonus points for having complementary flavors. I really like that. When it seems like an MRE is well thought out and everything goes together just as it should. And that will be evident here in our last little concoction that is literally everything in the menu except for the cookie. It's messy to eat it like this, but boy, it tastes good. That is certainly the way to do it. I suspect that Mr. John, Multi-Magnum 62, also enjoyed this menu. I think most people would, and that's really how an MRE is designed to align with the palates of most people. One last sip of orange drink, and that was the review. That was menu number 2, beef shredded in barbecue sauce. My first time having the menu, I was very pleased. One that I would most certainly have again. Again, if you'd like to, please check out Multi-Magnum 62's video review of the same menu, linked down in the description of this video, to see if his opinions were any different from mine. We have very different reviewing styles, where my videos are a little bit more fast-paced and quick-cut. Multi-Magnum likes to take his time with a more relaxed and deliberate pace, and perhaps you'll find that contrast enjoyable. I want to say a big thank you to John for suggesting that we do this little collaboration. It's always fun to work with someone else from the community, and hopefully I'll be able to do more collaborative efforts with other reviewers in the future. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you know anyone else that might enjoy this video, please share it because that is the best way to help the channel grow. And make sure you subscribe to the channel to catch all my future reviews. That does it for this one, but I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Peace.